Alright, what's going on YouTube? Broadus Lawn and Landscape here. So today is going to be the start of our new series that I'm going to be starting called Young Entrepreneurs. So basically what I'm doing with this series is I'm talking to other people just across the United States, other people kind of around my age group, teenage, low 20s, stuff like that, just people who are just kind of starting out business or are new to the whole thing, and just kind of, get some knowledge, help each other, see if we can, just kind of help each other grow as a lawn care and landscaping community. And not even necessarily just in that way, but, just kind of figure out things, because I know when you start out business, you have a lot of different questions and there's so many different ways to do it. So I'm just going to be going through talking with several other people, just seeing their opinions. They have a topic that they're going to talk about. They're going to give their insight in something that they think they have pretty good knowledge of, or just kind of a story that they'd like to share that might benefit y'all. So yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and jump into it. So for week 1 here, we have C&I Services. So yeah, C&I Services, I'm going to let him go ahead and introduce himself.
Alright guys, hi, my name's Christian, and I'm a C&I Services, but I go on Instagram by C&I Lawn Care. I've been in business since 2013, and I provide many services, including lawn care, snow removal, fertilizing, dethatching, core aeration, and many other services that are seasonal as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. What I would like to talk about today and give my insight on is advertising, how to grow, and what type of risks I took to, get to where I am today. I'm still small compared to, many others, but I hope to change that this season. To give you a little background information, currently I have about 12 lawns a week, and I'm hoping to change that by, start of spring. I'm in Chicago, so we still have a few weeks left. And I'm hoping to get, 25 or 30 by the spring weekly lawns. I take care of about, 12 snow removal clients every time it snows, and that's been a good winter so far. So here we go. So a few key factors that, for me, that have been, beneficial was I started out slow, purchased everything myself, started from shoveling, in order to purchase my first Honda, the HRX 217. After about 2-3 years, I purchased the Bobcat QuickCat 36-inch mower to stand on, and that was a big jump for me since I started out slow. First year I only did mine and one other, and then I added another, and then the year after that I added another. So I was only about 4 clients when I first purchased the Bobcat. So, it was a huge jump, and I had a, big loan to pay off. So how I did that, paid it off in, less than a year, was once I had the Bobcat, I knew that I would be able to spread my business a lot faster, because in my town, I don't have a trailer right now, and I don't plan on getting one for maybe a few more months, because all my clients are real close to me. Neighbors or down the street, within a few streets, most of them pretty much within half a mile. So when I first bought the Bobcat, I had about 4 clients, and I got about 7 to 8 more since within a small period of time, within about 8 months. And not all of that was lawn care season, obviously, but that's how I really grew tremendously in a short amount of time, in my opinion. But after all, I decided, with my school and sports and activities, I decided that I was getting pretty capped out with that lawns per week during the school year, and I had a really successful fall. So during the school year, lawns, I don't think I could add too many more, and I'm looking for some serious growth this spring. So we had a great fall last year. I purchased a BR700, and that proved to speed up cleanup time tremendously. And Yeah, so that really helped out with the down payment on the Toro Grandstand Multi-Force I purchased this winter. And the only reason I was able to purchase that was because I purchased the Bobcat, which was a huge jump for only 4 clients, and I went to about 11 or 12. So
Mm-hmm.
I took a big risk, and you think you might not be able to support that $7,000 purchase with only 4 clients, bringing in about 100 or more a week, but I took a risk, and it proved to be beneficial for me. So with the Toro, I've done a lot of plowing this year. I went from 3 snow clients last year, every time it snowed, to about 12 per event this year. And around here, we usually do a trigger point at an inch of snow. I've one that's pretty close to zero tolerance though. But also with the Bobcat, I was able to pick up my first commercial property, which has been a huge help for me since it's on a main street in my town. And the way I got customers before this year, which I'm planning on doing 2,500 door hangers in my area, the way I got customers was word of mouth and just recommendation from customers and people seeing me driving up and down the sidewalks, every week to my clients, and they think, oh, he's a hard worker, or they see me always and they want to stop and say hi. So people know our name in town and know that we're local. We're not just a big company with a crew here. We're local, and that's what people around here really like to support the locals. So that's one reason I say I didn't grow too much the first few years of my business. I was a little younger since I started when I was about 11. So now that I'm older, maturing more, I see how much I want to get done. I'm dedicated. I want to get a lot of customers. So that's how the Bobcat worked. That's how I got to where I was from that point. And then when I got the Toro, we had a good winter this year, so it was a good year to have the Toro with I haven't really said it yet, but I have the Toro Grandstand Multi-Force, the 52-inch mowing deck, and then I have the Boss plow for the snow. And that's been good. We've been doing a lot of snow. And basically from there, where I plan to expand is my goal. I set it 25 or 30 lawns a week by the spring, and I think it's really gonna help me, get more clients, because with the 36-inch mower, you can only do so much. With the size around here, they're pretty big properties, and I know that when I'm accepting customers, I know that I'll be dedicated and I can actually accept them and stick to what I say. When I know that I can come here every week. It's not that I'm going to be a few days late because I don't have the capacity on my schedule, but I can provide quality service, and that's what I really pride myself on. Is I haven't grown too fast, but I really have got a lot of high quality. So that's how I got customer recommendations. And since last spring, mainly in the fall, but last spring I started to do a lot more extra services. So that's where the CNI services is. I've done dethatching, core aeration, overseeding, hedge trimming, fall cleanups, spring cleanups, all that kind of stuff, and fertilizing. And I also have an organic option, which is appealing to customers. And that's how I've really grown with the services. Because around here, when it's winter and fall, and it's not just a continuous season of grass being shown on the ground, I guess customers really would like a one-stop shop type of guy. That's how I think the success around here has worked out. I think that people really like it when they just have one person to take care of all their needs, because then they don't have to have another guy do it. Right. And have it's a lot of in the customer's mind, it's probably a lot of work, but it's easy to just have one person, I guess.
Right.
So I think that's really just how success. I think that's the key to success if you offer many services. And also, the services are where you can get some really high margins as well, and you can do really well because these services are they're once or twice a year sometimes for the aeration and dethatching, and customers really want it sometimes, and so that's how I think that I've really grown to become part of my potential of the services part, because
Right.
then I don't have to deal with the competing companies around here, because then I don't have True Green working on my lawns. If I'm working on mine, I want to see that I've done the fertilizing, so that my customer knows and other people know that he took care of the whole lawn, he fertilized it, he took care of it, so he is responsible for how nice it looks.
Right.
And that's basically how I've done pretty well so far, I guess. That's my past. My future is I'm hoping for a lot more lawns per week, and I'm gonna be doing purchasing a dethatcher probably from Detach for the front of the Toro Multiforce. Part of the spring cleanups, dethatching, and then yeah, that's about it for the Toro as well. I'm thinking for the fall, they have these powered baggers. They're pretty pricey, but I think that it would really increase my efficiency, because I would not have to. On the Bobcat, I have a accelerator bagger, the aluminum ones, and they're good, but they fill up extremely fast. And if I had one of the power baggers on the Toro, I think that it would increase my efficiency, because it's a bigger deck. It has the powered part, which will shred up the leaves, and I would have less. I wouldn't have to stop nearly as much, because around here, I'm using the paper bags and trash cans for the leaves in this fall, because I don't have a trailer and I don't really have access to a dump that's very close to me that I know of. So I think that's gonna be a good investment for me. And yeah, that's about it for that.
Okay, awesome. So I know you touched on kind of, the risks that you took whenever you got the Bobcat. So how did you already did you market ahead of time before you got the Bobcat, or how did you get from the 4 clowns to, I know you said about 12? Do you think it was just because of the Bobcat, or did you step up your marketing, or how exactly did you help yourself grow, being that you took the risk of getting the mower?
I think that knowing that I had the Bobcat, I took on more jobs. I offered jobs to people, or there's a local posting thing that people post on, if they need jobs. I've also used Thumbtack. But also I think that just when people see you riding up and down the sidewalks with your equipment, and that's you don't need to advertise it, because they see you and they're gonna come out and talk to you. Since I touched on how locals around here really like it when local people are doing the work, because they like to support the local companies.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so let's see what we got here. So I think you touched on a lot of stuff. You covered a lot of ground, which is awesome. So for when you were saying you do snow stuff, so how exactly do you do that for them? Do you do any type of salting or anything like that, or do you just use the multi-force to get it all out of the driveways?
So for the snow, usually I have one of the recently around this Christmas time, I purchased the snow plow shovels. They're the white shovels with the yellow handles.
Right.
A lot of people recognize them like that, and I use those for the sidewalks when it's lighter snow, which has been very efficient. And for salting, it depends on the customers. Some customers don't want salting on their concrete driveways, because it can damage it.
Right.
I've done quite a bit of salting actually, since we've had a lot of ice this winter as well. So I mean, when it comes to ice, customers just they just want it to be safe. So I've done a lot of salt for ice, or that type of situation. But I've also done some clients just like it salted on their driveway or around their walkway, or this one of my clients was selling their house, and still are, and they want for their showings for the open houses, they want everything to be safe. They don't want an ounce of ice.
Right.
So they want it to be completely ice free or snow free.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of my customers who has zero tolerance for snow.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I take care of all the snow, everything. If there's a little bit, I take care of it no matter what it is, and especially on those days that they have open houses, because
Mm-hmm.
when you're selling your house, the last thing you want to happen is someone gets injured.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So I'm trying to remember what I was just thinking about. Oh yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you were doing the organic fertilizing program. I think you were saying something like that.
Yep.
So how would you recommend that other people try to get into that, or what are any obstacles that you've I guess faced by offering a different rather than just a standard fertilizer to people?
So, well, I do offer the chemical
Mhm.
standard
Right.
fertilizers,
Mhm.
but I use Milorganite, the organic fertilizer, on many of my clients
Okay.
because you can't go wrong with Milorganite. Honestly, it strengthens your lawn, gives it that nice look, and naturally it does crowd out weeds. When your lawn is fuller and more strong, it crowds out the weeds.
Mhm.
So some people are they have pets and they don't want chemicals in their lawn, and I understand that, so I have an option for that. Some people I really like to use, so I like to use the Milorganite after seeding, like aerations and dethatchings. Usually I'll put down Milorganite after dethatchings because the Milorganite really goes well with the new seed, and it really helps it do well.
Mhm.
So it's can't go wrong with it, and it's pretty cheap. So it's a affordable application for customers, and customers ask me, what do you do for fertilizing? And oftentimes I just include this because it's worked on my lawn, it's worked on all my lawns. It's just really beneficial, and
Right.
it's no downsides. It doesn't burn. It's a great product. So that's what I do about that, and I don't. I think that it's important to offer the chemical because that's what most people like, and that's what gets the best results oftentimes.
Mhm.
But Milorganite is just like a fallback, just in case somebody doesn't like the chemicals, and I actually think it works better than some of those just normal chemical based like lawn feeding fertilizers.
Right. Yeah, I've used Milorganite a few times, and it's really good stuff. Like you were saying, I think I actually first saw it on Lawn Care Nut on YouTube. I know he uses that a lot, so I decided to give it a try. And yeah, it's awesome. You almost got to be careful because it'll boost the lawn so much you almost can't even keep up with it. So
that's how I found it too. The Allen Haynes Lawn Care Nut. That's how I found it, and in the Jake the Lawn Kid, he's Northwest Indiana, so it's pretty close to me, and I can relate to his condition. So if it works for him, it must work for me.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so so what would one thing that you would give people to take away from this? I know you've already talked about risk, and that's important to at some points in your risk you're gonna have to take risks, but also like you were saying, you were confident and you knew that you did good work, and you were ready to take on the extra work, right? So you gotta be prepared. You have to be able to take risks, but you also have to plan. You know what I'm saying? You have to you were ready to take on the extra work. You were you knew that you had the stuff to do it, and you were ready to go once you got the equipment, and that way you were able to make it happen. And like you said, get 8 lawns within, would you say, about a cutting season or so. So like I said, guys, risks are part of having a business, and no matter what it is in your life, you're gonna have to take risks, but at the same time, you also have to plan. It's good to have a backup plan, but it's also good to know what you're worth, and just make sure that you're doing good work so that when you make those risks, there's a higher percentage chance that they'll actually go through and that you can actually grow your business through them. So really appreciate you telling us that, Christian. So before we close here, what would be one thing that you would give people, just advice that you would say, just if someone's wanting to start their business or they're just starting? Because like I said, it can be kind of discouraging when you only have 4 lawns and you look out on Instagram and these companies have hundreds of properties. It's hard to bridge the gap. So what would be some advice that you give to people who are just starting out in lawn care, just real quick?
Yeah, right. So my advice I would give would be, you don't have to, some people look up to these guys who have massive companies. They think that I gotta be like this soon.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to rush it. You want to take your time, but you want to build a solid base
Mm-hmm.
so that, like you said, you got to plan it out so that you fall back in case just sell all your other venues to get a certain mower. I mean, you got reasoning when you get over and have a plan. Maybe it comes with time. Maybe you just start out for 2 years with a push mower and some equipment, but I mean, you can't rush it because your quality will start to decrease as your quantity goes up. Then your customers aren't going to be happy. You're not going to have a very good reputation. I mean, you won't be really satisfied with your work, which is not a good thing. You will be, happy with your work. You want to be happy with your clients, and you want to be ambitious. So one of the reasons why I got the Toro was that no other company offered it. If Bobcat had one, I probably would have got a Bobcat if they offered something similar. But I didn't spin into any other services. I didn't want to just buy another mower that can do the same thing, so a bigger deck. I can do plowing, I can do mowing, I can do many of the services and it has a 2-inch hitch. I can move trailers. I can do many things, and if other attachments coming out. And that's how I think I'm going to grow. I don't want to be average. I want to be something above average. And I think once you get this good customer relationships,
Mm-hmm.
you'll find out, maybe you need more lawns, you need more money, you need more, your ambition. Maybe, I'm ambitious, and I did a lot better too. Better door hangers. I'm getting them soon. So I think that you don't want to rush it. You really want to. You're going to start having a good, solid foundation, and that's what I would give for the best advice. You can't start out, wanting the best equipment and having the best equipment. You can't start out with the top of the line truck. You got to start with, how everybody else starts out.
Right. Yeah. I think the sound glitched maybe a little bit for you guys. I know we're kind of having kind of a rainstorm, but yeah. Basically, what he was saying was just it's important to have consistent growth and to build relationships with your customers, and that way you'll expand through word of mouth, but also that they know that you're taking good care of them, because like I said, you take the time to speak with them and just do stuff like that. And also, like he was saying, you got to be careful when you look at these companies and they have all the the big stuff. You got to think that that's not how anyone starts out. They always start with the lower end stuff, so you just make do with what you have. And then if you keep working at it, like he was saying, build the customer relations and stuff like that, then it's definitely attainable to be a big company like that. It's definitely something that you can get to as long as you work hard enough and you work long enough at it. So, all right, guys. Well, I think that's going to conclude week 1 interview with CNI Services. I'll put his YouTube and Instagram below. Like he said, his Instagram is actually CNI Lawn Service, or Lawn Care. Lawn Care?
Yeah, CNI Lawn Care.
Yeah, CNI Lawn Care on Instagram. Like I said, guys, I'll have that. Okay. Yeah, I'll have that linked below. So thank you guys for tuning in to week 1. Like I said, I'll have other people coming on, but yeah, thank you, Christian, for coming on. That was some great advice that you gave for starting out. And just what's that?
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. So all right, guys, that's it, and I will see you guys sometime soon. All right, thanks. Bye.